I'm the executive producer and senior business correspondent at WorkingNation, and we're a nonprofit news organization, content provider, and we focus exclusively on the future of work. So we look at what we were just in the introduction, we look at how communities, educators, businesses, and other nonprofits all work together to solve the skills gap, which is how do we match up what businesses need with what skills the job seekers have, and if they don't have them, how do we get them to that right place so they can get all these great jobs that are being created here in Tampa and in Florida. Right now in this country, there's 6.9 million job openings based on the latest Bureau of Labor Statistics numbers. 6.6 million people looking for jobs, but the businesses are saying they don't have those skills. So that's a big gap. There's a lot of innovation here, there's a lot of jobs being created, and we want to talk about what these great people are doing to fix that. So I want to start first with Lil. You're a startup tech company. You've started a new company, and you've had several other companies. Tell me what you're looking for when you're looking for talent, and how are you finding it?
Thank you, Ramona. So it all starts with culture first, for us. You know, not for all businesses, but I can share with you our experience. People are the foundation no matter what the business is. I've been in a lot of different sectors of business, and the people are the foundation of whether it's tech or analog type business, and you have to find the right people in order for your business to succeed and to thrive. And so for us, right now, we source people through Indeed, we source them through referrals, and then from the trip over here, it's opened my eyes that we need to start sourcing at the college level, at the university level, to get them before they get into the workplace, because you want those really smart, hungry people. We interview based on behavioral interview questions, and we're looking for the culture first and then the skill set. Because skill set you can train, culture you can't, and I agree with what you're saying and what everybody on the panel feels, is that you do need to, in order for your business to be able to compete, you need to be able to find the people with the right skills. But if they don't have the great culture first, your business won't go far for us.
And Xendoo, what do you do?
So Xendoo is an online bookkeeping and accounting, and we're reshaping the accounting industries, and we help small business owners with fewer than 20 employees have financial peace of mind and be up on their financial health.
And do you find that you're hiring people with traditional accounting skills, or what is the difference now?
Great question, because we struggle, and this may sound terrible, but we're here and we're all amongst friends, right? So the older population has a stronger skill set, right, for certain jobs. Like we're a tech first and then accounting second. So we're tech first, and so that's the younger crew. But the older population has the skill set, but they don't have the technology side of it, and they don't understand the new world. And then the younger, the millennials and the Gen Zs, right? They understand the technology and they fly, but they don't have the interpersonal communication skills to know how to communicate with their team and also with customers. And so it becomes quite challenging on both sides of your workforce, whether you're hiring somebody that's, and when I say on the older, I'm talking 35, 40, okay? Versus, the 20-year-old. So it is challenging.
Yeah. And we were talking backstage. You were saying that in your business, you're head of HR for GuideWell, and you've got about 11,000 people in Florida. But you were saying that you've taken some of the people, some of your older workers, they've had other jobs as actuarials, and now they have, you're using them in a new way. Could you kind of play off of what she's saying there?
Sure, and thank you for that promotion. I'm actually not the head of it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Congratulations.
Okay. That's okay.
You should be.
I should be, but no. So yeah, just to piggyback on what you were saying, first of all, we also agree that culture is the number one thing to be looking for. However, we also know that people can be reskilled, and so we've really looked at our workforce that we currently have, thought about what we need in the future, and a lot of that has to do with data analytics, it has to do with technology. So we've looked at people that have those skill sets actuarial is a perfect example, and we've said, how can we rotate them throughout the organization and teach them new skills where they bring their basic skills to the forefront to help us solve the healthcare problems of the future. We also do quite a bit of work in the university arena. So I think I mentioned to you backstage that we have formed a partnership, for example, with Jacksonville University, and we had our first cohort of master's degree students graduate just recently in data analytics. If you can't find some of those skill sets outside, you grow them inside.
Are you creating the curriculum with the school then?
We absolutely are, and that's not the only school we're working with. You'll give us a chance to talk about some of the others. Cybersecurity is another place that we're really leaning into. But yes, we help with developing the curriculum.
Yeah, and we've done, WorkingNation has done a lot of town halls and data and analytics. We're doing one at Wharton, and that's one of the biggest fields, and it doesn't just touch, it doesn't touch accounting only, it doesn't touch, it touches healthcare. I'm sure it touches all the businesses of the people that are up here right now. And Moez, you're the Dean of the University of South Florida.
The Muma College of Business.
There you go. One of the things that I thought was really interesting in our preliminary conversation was you are working to make sure that every student is certified career ready.
Absolutely.
And can you explain that and what you're looking at, why you saw the necessity for that?
First of all, our vision is really to listen to our partners, to the business community, and understand what they are looking for. So some of the feedback we've been getting is with Generation Z and the Millennium, because of they are connected individuals, we are noticing a lack of the social skills, the communication skills, the teamwork. So what we did is we started a partnership with Sandler's Training, which is a leader in career soft skills. And now every single student, regardless of their major at the Muma College of Business, has to be certified. They cannot graduate if they're not certified as career ready, where we cover networking, interpersonal skills, elevator pitch, sales skills, negotiation skills, all these important, even dining etiquette. So these are really important for them to distinguish themselves and find a job.
Have you been doing this long enough to know if there's any result of that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We've been doing this for a couple of years now. The results are amazing. But this is not the only thing that we are doing. To piggyback on what Deb just said regarding the importance of data analytics. Now data analytics is the foundation of every single business. And we strongly believe that regardless of your specialty in business, you have to understand the foundations. So starting this fall, we started something extremely unique. We're so proud of. We are teaming up with Tableau, a leader in data visualization and data analytics, where we certify every Muma student, regardless of their major, as a citizen data scientist. And what does that mean? It means three things. The first thing is they have the mindset of fact-based decision making. They go to the data, see what the data says. The second thing, they master the foundation of data analytics. And the third thing, which is really important, is they master some tools. So when they graduate, they will have their accounting degree, finance degree, whatever major it is. They will have a certificate from Sandler's Training that they are career ready, and they will have a certificate from Tableau as a citizen data scientist. Means they are data savvy, they have the ability to look at the data and convert it to useful insights for better decision making.
That's really interesting because I think you're doing this, you've been doing this for...
we started just
this year,
fall.
Right. But I think it's finally coming out that this is something that's, this again is something that everybody needs to understand. Absolutely. So combined with the soft skills that you were talking about and more of a hard skill, which is a universal skill everybody needs. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Saif, you were at the Florida International University. You guys are doing the Talent Development Network. We wanted to know a little bit about that.
Great. So I know it's a little bit late in the afternoon, and I'm curious for everybody here. I'll ask a question. How many of you here have a young person in your life who plays the video game Fortnite? Right? Or how many of you have yelled at a young person in your life who plays too much Fortnite? Okay, great.
Pretty good show of hands.
I asked that question, and it actually merges right into our conversation about the Talent Development Network, because imagine a video game like Fortnite in the span of the last 17 months has gone from 0 users to 250 million users. It's now essentially a digital country as large as the United States. And essentially what that tells us is that the use patterns of millennials and Gen Zs, if you're able to leverage exponential technologies, you're going to be able to make points of connection and meaning with them. And so for us at Florida International University, in conjunction with our friends at the Helios Education Foundation, as well as with the local economic development agency in Miami, the Beacon Council, we decided that we needed to simplify this question around how is it that we are turbo connecting campus and career. And we also recognized that we needed to do that in a way that was not about the binary choice of one institution versus another institution. Great entrepreneurs like Lil, they need to find talent, and they don't have the time to go to 7 or 10 different career service shops. They need to be able to go to a single service portal that allows them to connect with great talent in their ecosystem. Similarly, for those young people who are of that Fortnite generation, if you will, they are accustomed to exponential technology platforms. They're meeting potentially their next partner on platforms like Tinder. They're playing video games on Fortnite. Yeah. And so they're leveraging these exponential platforms in a way that is where they're able to derive meaning. So we built the Talent Development Network, which is essentially a portal that connects students at all 7 academic institutions in South Florida: the University of Miami, my home institution FIU, our community college, several private colleges, as well as our K-12 system, and have made it that much easier for businesses who are trying to find high-octane talent in our region. We've made the portal 100% free. It's free for students, it's free for local businesses, and then we've partnered with our local economic development agency, the Beacon Council, to ensure that businesses know that such a platform exists. So when they're looking for extraordinary talent, they're able to find it on this single source platform. We've also, using the Fortnite analogy a little bit more, we've also been able to leverage something like LinkedIn's economic graph, which some of you might be familiar with, which is able to tell us, based upon real-time postings on the LinkedIn platform, what are the 10 skills in greatest deficit within a region, and then what are the 10 skills with the greatest abundance in a region in real time, which we know, quite frankly, is a much more accurate way of understanding where the skills gap is happening, as opposed to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which sometimes might be a little bit dated. So we're using big data plus the power of exponential technology, and quite frankly, a series of ongoing workshops with those students and those employers, because you can go as high tech as you want, but truthfully, it's about high touch. I had an opportunity to speak to one of the world's most famous gamers in Fortnite, a young man by the name of Myth. And I asked him, I said, what is it that makes you such a great gamer? And he said, mindset. It's all about mindset. So if you think about in this era of exponential technology, as we're supporting young minds and learners, it's also about us ensuring as educators that we're equipping them with mental agility and growth mindsets to be able to compete in the second half of the 21st century. And that's what we're doing with the Talent Development Network. And we believe that this hypothesis that we've tested over the last 3 to 4 years is really the model of how it is that universities, great public institutions and private institutions are going to be able to ensure that the value proposition of what they know best, which is what the dean mentioned, this idea of developing and scaling human potential, that we're bringing that opportunity and we're bringing that skill set to the market in an effective way, delivering value to the young people who are entrusting us and their families to develop them for the careers of the 21st century.
You know, and I'll get to Vincent and Kent in a second here, but I wanted to say, you just said something that was very important, that you're working with the Miami Economic Development Committee or Council, and it's breaking down silos. There are businesses, there are educators, there are nonprofits, and then there's academia. So how do, you know, did you go to them or did they come to you?
We were really fortunate that the Talent Development Network was created. It was birthed through a number of different partners. And one, our Beacon Council, which is our economic development agency, under their strategic plan, and we all come from different regions in our state, and we know that these economic development agencies have strat plans. And so they declared that there were these 7 targeted high growth industries in our region. And they also recognized through a process called One Community, One Goal that they needed to create a organizing mechanism for the academic ecosystem. So we have a coordinating council called the Academic Leaders Council, which my boss, the president of FIU, Dr. Mark B. Rosenberg, chaired for a number of years. And the one goal that they decided to settle upon was creating this unified paid internship platform. Folks, for those of you who are entrepreneurs, and if you don't know it, if you lament that you can't find talent, it's because we're not providing enough experiential learning opportunities for that rising talent. The data tells us that a paid intern oftentimes matriculates at a 65% into a full-time job. Like any great product or service out there, an internship is try before you buy. And so we know that we were able to partner with the Economic Development Agency. Our institutions were essentially able to remove this notion of our lapel pin and institutional brand on the behalf of our learners and on the behalf of economic prosperity in our region. And that required everyone to take that leap of our collective imagination about what's been possible. And truthfully, the philanthropic investment of a partner like the Helios Education Foundation, which is headquartered right here in Tampa, and leaders like Braulio Colon over there, that made the world of difference because we had to set aside our institutional goals on the behalf of prosperity for our region, which is exactly what businesses were asking of us and what our students demanded of us.
You know, and you brought up the idea that there is a lot of great talent out there, and sometimes it's untapped and we don't know about it. So both Kent and Vincent are involved with helping share the knowledge of our military, our great military workforce that could transition into the civilian workforce. Kent, of course, you were a Navy SEAL and you made a transition into the civilian workforce yourself. Tell me a little bit about the STAR program that you're involved with and how that works.
Okay, happy to. I retired on June 1st, 2017, and I started working at Grove Financial June 7th, 2017. And I was lucky. I had 2 things going for me. One was the STAR program, and the other was the fact that Grow hires for talent and culture fit before skill set. So the STAR program was founded by Anthony Weiss and Mark Rosenthal in 2015. It's currently led by VJ Lund. The STAR program currently has over 100 local business leaders that represent diverse sectors of the business world, and we've helped at least over 100 special operations operators transition since 2015. The STAR stands for Soft Transition Assistance Resource, and SOF means Special Operations Forces, which is basically your Army, Green Berets, Rangers, Special Operations Aviation guys and gals, Air Force Special Operations and Special Tactics Squadrons, Marine Raiders, Navy Combatant Crewmen, and Navy SEALs. So that's the SOF umbrella that covers this group. The STAR network works and helps operators transition by providing soft dinners, speaker series, and job shadowing, as well as a partnership with Tampa Bay Job Links and Transition USA, Project Transition USA. So the dinners are monthly, and 15 operators link up with 15 mentors who then become, by the time I retired in 2017, I had about 20 of those guys who would help me with anything I needed. The speaker series is a monthly thing that happens on MacDill where relevant speakers come in to talk about relevant things to the operator who's transitioning, how to write a resume, interview tips, financial considerations, that kind of stuff. And the job shadowing is a great thing that allows operators to get out there and work, see what the business world's like, see a day in the life, and really come to understand that a team room is a team room, and you can get along out here even though it's scary out in the civilian world.
And so you mentioned the resume, how to write a resume. so skills that you had as a Navy SEAL, I mean, putting Navy SEAL on your resume is a great achievement, but there's not a lot of call for Navy SEALs in the civilian world. So I'm sure your company that you were hired by, they saw that you were a leader, you were a team player, problem solver, and that is probably what you're helping.
They didn't read anything on my resume that made them hire me. So, yeah, like I said, I'm so grateful that Grow Financial hires based on talent and culture fit as opposed to skill sets. They knew that I had no financial industry background, but they knew that I had other intangible skills that I could bring. And so, in general, for the folks down on MacDill, 6 miles away from this arena right here, about hundreds of them transition every year. And for those that serve 20 to 30 years, there's certain things that we all just have. It's just a thing that we have because we've lived that life for that long. And they include things like understanding how important a strong culture is, how important strong values are. And then there's certain words and concepts and themes that are like absolutely tattooed on our souls. Integrity, courage, servant leadership, responsibility, accountability, honor, commitment. Those are things that really mean something to us. And so those kind of sentiments translate to a way that we lead. And so we find ourselves out in the civilian workforce, and it works.
It's great. And Vincent, you had another career before becoming the CEO?
Yeah, I consider Ken a young man. I mean, he retired June of 2017. I retired January 2017, so I was done way before you, buddy. But yeah, previous career, I love the mindset and the focus of kind of where Ken was going with that on those soft skills, because you heard two of the first people speaking, Lim, specifically about the culture. You know what I mean? Looking at that first when you're doing the hiring process and the evaluations, because again, those people qualities, those things that you just sometimes are intangibles, intrinsic value there, they can supplement a business very quickly and help those people integrate into your environment. And you can deal with the technical skills, some of the hard skills a little bit later. So yes, as an entrepreneur, I think I was introduced as a serial entrepreneur here. One thing that I take away from everybody speaking up here is the kind of the global view, because I'm involved in multiple industries in this Tampa Bay region, from real estate development mostly, restaurants, some technology companies, things like that. The cooperation between academia, the nonprofits, municipalities, government bodies, and of course the corporations, most importantly, that are coming, and working and opening up their doors now to these educational facilities to increase the value of the educational experience. So when these students that are investing their money, and their parents are investing their money, they're coming out prepared, for a career. And, whether you're transitioning from military life or transitioning as an athlete, sometimes you get to that finish line, and it's like, okay, I'm not sure what's next. And we don't want to see that happen when you invest that type of money in academia. You know what I mean? We have corporations out there that are growing faster than they can keep up with, and the talent pool needs to keep up and sustain that as well. So again, tracking back to just this region, is the way that Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg area region is growing. I love the fact that we have that cooperation and that synergy to, one, attract better businesses, because we know that we have talent here, and then we can sustain that and retain that. And that's what we want, you know what I mean, as global partners and partners across the state of Florida, from Jacksonville all the way down to South Florida. We have a great talent, a pool of talent here, and I love seeing these different people from different walks of life coming together. Synapse Summit is an amazing event that's going to continue to grow. Happy to be a part of it, and it really just builds a lot of energy for what Tampa's going through right now.
And on your own personal story, you went back to school yourself to get your degree.
Yes,
I thought that was really interesting.
I actually get to help Moez with the stats, because I was actually still playing with the Buccaneers here. My last 2 years, I was finishing up my degree, undergrad here at Muma College of Business. So I was able to transition to a company that I had established a couple years back, but I had a job right away, Moez. So thank you so much for having me skill set, industry ready. I appreciate it, buddy.
He was listening to business and knew what they needed, which was you, right?
That's right.
Right. We were talking about, you talked about younger workers who are playing, the games and that. But we were also talking about older workers, and I think you might have mentioned it earlier, Lil, that there is another untapped workforce out there that maybe doesn't get the recognition it should, and that we talk about lifelong learning a lot as that, so you just don't come out of school and this is your one, career for the rest of your life. But a lot of these older workers who are out there looking for work are a good source for these new jobs that are being created. Does anybody want to weigh in on that, or?
Happy to.
Okay.
It's you can't go just by the age. You have to go by the mindset. And you hit on it when you said lifelong learners. So it doesn't matter what age you are, as long as you're a lifelong learner, you're going to adapt and adopt. And I think that's the key, because when we look at how technology has played out in the past few decades, it was at a much slower rate. And for all of us, and even the people that are now just coming out of college, technology is going to move at such a rate that they're going to need to adapt and to adopt. So I think the key is not looking at the age, but looking at the mindset. And I think somebody mentioned it, that it's the agility mindset. Saif mentioned that, and I think that that's key. So how do you interview and find the older population that has the agility mindset?
I would like to add what the universities are doing to adapt and adopt to the lifelong learners. So what we are doing, for example, at the Muma kind of business, we're really trying to create programs and adjust existing programs just for these lifelong learning. So we have evening classes. We, for example, talking about data analytics, started a program, a weekend program for executives and managers and employees who want to equip themselves with the 21st century type of skills that hopefully either will get them to a higher level in their organization or a better job than the one they have, or another job. Also, online. Online is another great possibilities. We, like FIU, we offer several programs online, from MBAs to master's degrees to certificates. But also, even if these lifelong learners are not interested in a degree per se, we offer non-degree programs in area like digital marketing, who's extremely in high demand. Cybersecurity is another one, or business analytics, or fintech. We're starting another one too.
Is there any culture issue fitting the older worker into the new technology and the new innovations that are creating out there? Do you think there's, how do co-workers react to the older workers?
It's magic when you can have the younger team asking the older team for communication skills, and the older team reaching out to the younger team for shortcuts of how to maneuver something in Excel, or some trick or tip. So it can be magical when you can do that. I think the key is the trust. They have to have the trust. And to hit on what you were just saying is that when you think about digital marketing, would you rather have somebody fresh out of school on digital marketing, or would you have somebody who's maybe done advertising for 20 years and needs to learn how to bridge that? And if you can bring the team together of somebody younger who's going to learn that skill set of the mindset, along with somebody who's maybe mature that can learn the new way of the world of marketing online.
Yes.
So the other thing that I want to share to build upon that, and this is really, you're seeing it through what Kent has done, both at Grow and the program STAR that enabled opportunity for him, and the involvement that Vincent and Lil and others here are doing, which is that if you're an entrepreneur and you're a business leader, get engaged with your local institutions. Serve on a curricular advisory committee. If you believe that the skills that your company is seeking you're not finding, get engaged. The institutions that we have in our communities all around the state, leaders like Moez and others at public institutions and private institutions, they are hungry to get that type of insight from business leaders. So that's one thing that I would say that's really, really critical, because it's sometimes, and I've been an entrepreneur in another part of my journey, and it's easy to lament about, well, I need to find folks that know Ruby on Rails or Python or something else, but get engaged, serve on a curricular advisory committee. We can't move forward our local communities unless each and every one of us has skin in the game. The other thing that I would say, which is of equal importance, is that we're also thinking about that universe of learners that are out there. that might be a little bit older. And we think about right now that we've got an economy which is almost employing every single person that's out there, 4.2% unemployment. But when you look at the labor force participation rates in many parts of America, we've only got about 2/3 of the folks who are able to work that are working. So what that means is that we're counting that young person or that middle-aged person that's working at Dry Clean USA, which might be a place to work, but we know that the forces of automation are coming to devour those places within
And they're
our economy.
underemployed.
And
yeah.
they're underemployed. And so as a university, one of the other things that we're doing, and I've got a colleague in this audience, Karen, who's actually helped to lead on this, is that we're launching an upskilling platform that we called UpLabs through a partnership with JP Morgan Chase, which is looking at those necessary skills in the health sector where we know that there's an opportunity to help upskill learners irrespective of what their age is, for these extraordinary jobs which are out there with our local health systems. And so we've got 14-week modules targeting learners of any age. They might not be traditional students of a baccalaureate issuing institution like an FIU, but we know the UP in UpLab stands for urban potential. We know that we have a responsibility as a university like FIU as well as USF and many others, that what we know is maximizing and optimizing human potential. And we have a responsibility, as my boss, the president of FIU, says, that in the future we may not all be students, but we all have to be learners. And so ultimately institutions have to embrace that responsibility. Similarly, the shared burden is with our partners in industry to serve on curricular advisory committees and help to guide and to mentor this rising talent that we have. So it doesn't matter what age the learner is, because all of us in the future are going to have to unlearn what we've been taught, our disciplines, and then get upskilled for the opportunities that are coming.
Yeah. And Deb, are you seeing that in Jacksonville as well?
Oh, sure. This is that type of partnership that you just talked about is absolutely something that we're dealing with, I think, throughout the state and throughout the nation. One of the things, as you talked about, how do the younger people communicate with some of our older workers, what we have found is just by sponsoring communication panels, bringing our employee resource groups together, which we call communities, some of which focus in on younger people, some older. Our newest one is called Gen Next, which is reemploying retirees or people who have left the workforce. That's all about collaboration and teamwork. The problems out there are complex, and no one person can solve them, so bringing together teams of people with different perspectives is really critical.
Yeah, the word partnership was mentioned many times by Saif and Deb. I really want to stress the importance of the partnership between the business community and the universities. I always look at the issue of talent as very similar to clapping. You cannot clap with one hand. I tried, it doesn't work. You need two hands to clap very hard. And one of the initiatives that we have that has been extremely successful for us, what we call the WWW. It's not the World Wide Web, it's the win-win-win. So if a company has a project, a challenge, opportunity, but they don't have the bandwidth or sometimes the know-how to do it, what we do is we put a team of students and a faculty member together to work on that project. The students are the biggest winners because of the experiential learning that they have, and in many instances they end up hired by the business. The company also wins. We did this with Grow Financial, and we were talking about another successful exit in our Tampa Bay region here, FinTech. We were able, through this mechanism, to improve the net profit of FinTech by about $4 or $5 million a year on a recurring basis out of one of these projects. And the final W is for the university, because that's our mission, that's our vision.
And Vincent, you mentioned, like Synapse and other organizations like this, getting the word out that there are these opportunities, there are businesses that need help, or they're doing innovative programs, partnerships with others. Can you talk a little bit about how you're getting that word out there?
Yeah, and I actually got introduced to STAR program with Kent and VJ here London about a month ago. So again, it's going to come back to engagement. You know what I mean? It's the opportunities are there. There's so many different bodies of organizations that are trying to bridge this gap that we have, this deficit that we're seeing between whether it's the labor or the talent pool or the resourcing or transitioning, not knowing what to do with that resume from a military background or a previous career. There are resources out there. And so, again, social media has gone, above and beyond, bridging that gap and making the world a smaller place. But you wonder why marketing has been, on the upswing the last 3 to 5 years, because these businesses are finding value and ROI in investing in those dollars to reach that talent, to reach those individuals, to let them know that we have resources for you, whether in-house or we can partnership with other groups out here that are, whether they're nonprofit or there's some sort of segue to get you prepared. Sometimes academia that are, for professionals that have families and working careers, they can't, go to school traditionally. But there's opportunities out here like USF or FIU, University of Tampa, whatever it is, they exist. So it's incumbent upon all of us, including the corporations, to provide those resources, because again, you look at all the energy and the talent that's in this building today as you walk around this building, and I got to judge a few panels earlier of the pitches. It's incredible. And for us to let that talent go out there and not provide them with the tools to make our economy and make our city and our global impact better, shame on us if we don't do that. So.
And Kent, do you have any last words you'd like to share on the same subject? On how somebody took a chance on you and said, I see something in you and I know you can do this job, and you told me you learned on the job.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still learning. I've been in the job 19 months, and I learn new stuff every single day. So it's a wonderful environment to do that. And now I'm on the other side of the STAR program as a civilian, and I mentor my guys and try to convince them that, hey, there's a place for you out here. You just got to make your talent aware. You got to make the businesses aware of your talent, because too many times we write things in our military terms and nobody understands them. So
Yeah. I think I said to you before, there's not a lot of call for a machine gunner in the civilian life, but there's skills that are transferable. So, well, there's really a lot that we could talk about, but our time is up. And as I like to say, you know our faces now. If you see us out in the audience, stop us, continue the discussion with us. I think we'd all be happy to share that with you. So I'd like to thank everybody for being here.